Hello guys, my name is Alex and welcome back for AOR, this time for the Silverstone Grand Prix, and currently you can see the drivers table as always. We are currently in P6 after quite an unlucky round in Austria, but coming into this round I was quite comfortable. I found a setup which worked quite well in qualifying and in clean air in the race. So yeah, let's get right into it. So here we are on our fastest lap in qualifying, and I was quite happy with this one. You need an aggressive setup in order to make the difference on this track because the pace of our players is very similar, so I chose a setup which works especially good in qualifying because also the tires are quite decent in terms of tire wear, so I chose a setup which is quick in quali but also not too unstable in the race, and that was quite important for me. And coming at the end of the first sector, it's important to get the right line here because it sets you up into this long right-hander, and it's very crucial to get a good exit onto this short straight, the old pit straight, and into cops. I think there was a slight bit of a mistake. I think I could have used more of the track, more of the inside, which was not ideal, but otherwise I was quite happy. Take a bit of curb on the right, a bit of curb on the left, shift down to 5th gear, and so far it's looking quite nice. I think we're just a few hundreds away from pole position so far, so it's looking good. So if we can nail these last few corners, we should get a good position, which it seems that we might have done into this last sequence of corners, which can be quite tricky, but we managed it quite solid. Not perfect, but a decent lap, which gets us at P5 at the end, which is not too bad. We are just 1.5 tenths behind the leaders, and yeah, let's see if we are able to keep this momentum into the race. We have 5 red lights, and it's lights out and away we go. We get a decent launch of the line, although it was not ideal. The Force India on the right got quite a good run out of the start, and we just stay in P5. We are looking for the inside, but it's tricky to make the move here because the outside is the place where you want to be, and we have a car on our left, but again the outside is quite important in this part, so we stay in P5, and now it's important to stay close to the cars ahead because the slipstream is really important. If you want to have a good race, you have to stick with the leaders. As you can see, we are still fighting with Ollie, who had similar pace to ours, and you can see there's a slight bit of a gap, so we have to close it in order to have a good race. And now you can see we already skipped to lap 7, which was basically because no one was really able to overtake the car ahead, because since we don't really have that much dirty air, everyone is able to follow quite easily to the car ahead. And on the other hand, we don't have that much slipstream, which means that basically the P1 stays in P1, P2 in P2, P3 and P3, and yeah, nothing really happened so far. One thing that was quite surprising or alarming to me was my tire temps. They were higher than I expected, and it was quite strange because in training I didn't have too many problems with my tire temperatures, but yeah, in the race maybe the little bit of dirty air makes the difference, but it was quite a lot, to be honest. And I think the cars ahead were struggling for similar reasons, and you can see we are able to stay close, but on the straights we are losing time. I don't think the other cars chose too lower wings compared to ours. I think I used 2.7, which is not that high, so yeah, for some reason we weren't really able to catch them, although they were fighting a bit. And especially in those scenarios where you are in this slipstream train and can't really overtake, you basically have 2 options. Option 1 is you stay in the queue and hope that anyone ahead makes a mistake, or option 2 is you go for aggressive move, which might end up in a crash. So I think the smartest thing I could do here is to wait and go for a different strategy. I knew that the overcut can be quite strong around here, so I basically stayed out for one more lap together with Flores, and I knew my tires at this point were feeling decent, not perfect, but I think they were a bit better compared to Flores, and you can see that we are closing on him, as we had a bit of oversteer actually in turn 1, which gave us a penalty, which is really not ideal, especially on this track, because I knew the other players most likely won't have any kind of penalty. So yeah, it's not good at the moment, because this basically means we have to get past the others and create a 3-second gap, and I don't think this will be, or I think this will be not that easy, because they are all really quick, and even if I can get past, it doesn't mean that I can pull away, because yeah, the slipstream is not the slipstream, but the dirty air is not enough, as we have another bit of oversteer in Cops, which is quite alarming. And as I said, in training I didn't really have those problems, which surprises me, but we got a good run out of Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, and we are now going side by side into Stowe, but it's tricky to make a move here, so we decided to stay behind, and we are going now both into the pits. It's really close, but at the end we managed to stop the car, and we are now out of the pits, and we didn't really lose time compared to the leaders, which is, I think, good. Although I think Flores got a bit better pit stop than I got, and he has a slight bit of a gap, especially on those cold tires. It seems that I struggle a bit, so we have to warm them. And coming into lap 17, you can see again the slipstream train is forming, and again it's quite chaotic, as a few people try to go side by side, but as I said, it's quite tricky to make a move stick, as we are going for the inside on Flores, but the outside has a bit more grip, as it seems, and again we are not really closing that much, so we watch the cars ahead battling, and we try to adapt to that as good as possible. Flores takes an alternative line in order to have some kind of a better run, but as I said, it's quite tricky to make a move. At the moment we're just waiting, and now you can see again I had oversteer for some reason, which is really not ideal. I had to lift from in turn 1, which is quite strange, and to be honest, I was quite surprised. I don't think the setup was too aggressive, as we have now Dominic right behind us, and I knew his pace is quite strong as well, so we have to watch out for him. And again the cars ahead are fighting, and the more they will fight, the more aggressive moves will be made, I think, as Dominic goes up on our inside. It was quite a clever and fair move. I was not really paying attention too much on him, which was not ideal. I was looking for the cars ahead, and yeah, he was able to get to make the move stick, which was quite strong from him. And again, it's really close. As I said, it's quite difficult to make a move here, because you have to take the risk in order to make the move, but especially into fast corners I really don't want to dive, because most of the time it can result in quite tricky situations. As you could see in the last round in Austria, we lost our wing for nothing, or not for a small incident, and in this race I really try to avoid this at any cost. And at the moment I even had to lift into turn 1 in those laps, so it's not ideal, and I think I have to use less aggressive setup in the future, or have to drive less aggressive maybe, as yeah, there's quite a lot of battling ahead. Dominic tries to attack Flores ahead, and he's really close, and now we have the problem a problem which we have, or which we had quite a lot of time so far in this season, because the people in P11, P12 who went on a different strategy are now fighting their way through as Deagle goes up on our inside. It was quite a clever move, but I knew Deagle had a penalty as well, and this was basically the reason I fought back here. I really didn't want to lose this position. It's really close. I think it looked like there was some kind of contact there, although I didn't really hit him. At the end, I was able to make the move stick again, and we are now in the second to last lap, so we can't afford any kind of mistakes. And again, we have a lot of oversteer into cops, which is puzzling for me, and we are trying to push as much as possible here in order to somehow stay close to the cars ahead. And I think Deagle is again really close to us, so we have to think about a way how to defend from him as he goes for the dive up in our inside. I left him a little bit of space because I didn't want to push him off the track. And now we are going again side by side into this last corner. We are going for the cutback in order to have a good exit, and we are now really close to him. We might think about a dive into the snake's braking zone, but again we have to lift because of the oversteer, and we are not really able to send one in the inside and on the inside. And now is the question, are we able to make the move stick on the straight? He got really he got a really good launch out of the traction zone, which basically means that we can't really overtake him as Tim dives up on our inside. But yeah, we are not really having anything of that, and we left him the space. We knew that the outside is the place you want to be, which means that we were able to defend our position. And at the moment we are in P7, which might turn into P8 depending on how many penalties the other cars have. As you can see, there was some kind of collision, and Jarno got quite a shocking run out of Magus Beckett and Chapel. As you can see, Flying Thing had some kind of incident, and we are now up into P6, and we are thinking about a move on the inside, but we are not really able to make the move stick. And let's see how many positions we will gain or lose in this last part. And it seems that we got P7 at the end, which is not too bad. It's always nice to have points, although I think there was a bit more possible, but yeah, the setup was a bit too aggressive, so I have to improve on that in the future rounds. And here you can see the drivers table after the British Grand Prix. We are in P6 and we gained a few points on Ollie, which is always nice. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next race, my home Grand Prix, so yeah, let's see how I do there. And that was the race. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you in the next one as well. Goodbye.